Hello everyone, Chapter 3, Part 3. A few moments later we found ourselves alone in my room. I know I've given you a terrible amount of things to think on this evening, and I'm awfully sorry. Now that we were alone, she was less formal. This was the Sen I had met in Kyoto all those months ago. No, it's all right. I'm sorry about, them. They said some pretty mean things. Well, that's to be expected, I fear. I was asking rather a lot of them, and frightfully suddenly. Not many humans would accept the existence of demons so readily, said Sen. But enough of that, on to business. What do you say to my offer? Have you thought on it? I had, indeed. If Sen had come to me when I'd first arrived in Kyoto, I might well have taken her up on her hospitality. But now... The Shinsengumi seems to believe that it can protect you, said Princess Sen. Though I do not doubt their dedication, I confess I do doubt their ability. Perhaps what she said was true. To stand against demons would be no mean feat. The Shinsengumi was powerful and skilled. I'd seen them face overwhelming odds and emerge victorious, but always those odds had been only human. The strength of even a single demon was something great and terrible. Of that there was no doubt. We had all seen so firsthand, and some had even lost their lives to that strength. Even the captains had nearly fallen before them. Will you come with us then? Asked Sen. It is dangerous for you to remain with the Shinsengumi. Sen. Her eyes were serious, but warm and honest. Whatever else she might be, her concern for me was real. Thank you, Sen, but... I hesitated. Is there a reason you wish to stay? Asked Sen. Yeah, I said. Oh my, one of those gentlemen, perhaps? Oh, what? Her question had been entirely innocent, although it had caught me off guard. I couldn't possibly lie to her. And here I have the choice to say either yes or no. And the obvious answer is yes. Yeah, I nodded and did my best to look confident. I see, said Sen. She smiled. Well, I shan't ask who, but I can certainly understand your dilemma. That being the case, I couldn't possibly tell you to leave. Thank you for waiting. The common room was just as we'd left it, and every head swiveled to look at Sen and me as we stepped back in. It didn't look as though they tried to kill each other in our absence, which was something of a relief. Have you reached a decision? Asked Kondo. Before I could speak, Sen stepped forward. After some discussion, we have decided to leave things as they are. Sen. She bowed deeply to the captains. Are you sure, Your Highness? Asked Kimigiku. Quite, said Princess Sen. For now I believe it is of utmost importance to prioritize Chizuru's desire. Very well, said Kondo. The Shinsengumi accepts responsibility for her well-being. No sooner were the words out of his mouth than all the captains rushed toward me. Just relax and leave it all to me, said Nagakura. "Oh, I'm sure Shinpachi'll give you all sorts of other things to worry about," said Harada. "Still glad to have you around." "What kind of girl would want to stay here?" said Okita. "This doesn't make you some kind of special guest," said Hijikata. "You get the same treatment you always have." "Right. Thank you, all of you, for letting me stay," I said. Sen took my hands in hers and let her eyes rest on mine. "Do be careful, and remember I am on your side." "Thank you, Sen." She gave me one last warm smile, and then Sen and Kimigiku were gone. Once again, sleep refused to come. My mind worked furiously, turning over everything Sen had told me, examining it from every angle. I was a demon. Not only that, but I was the head of a pure-blooded demon clan that had been nearly destroyed, and my heritage was the reason Kazama had developed such an interest in me. Gosh, I had decided to stay with the Shinsengumi, but was that really the best idea? Should I have left instead? I'd wanted to stay, of course, and I didn't really think leaving was a reasonable choice. But what if I'd made a mistake? It wasn't an easy question to answer. The relentless flow of thought had at last begun to subside when I heard noise erupt from outside. Roars and shouts of battle, accompanied by the sound of steel against steel, echoed through the night. "I'm sorry for bothering you so late, but this is an emergency." There was someone just outside my door. "Shimada?" "Yes?" The word was barely out of my mouth when the door snapped open and Shimada stepped into my room. His eyes darted back and forth nervously and his body was tense. "Has something happened?" He nodded. "The demons have attacked us. Here." "What?" I leapt for the door, but he threw out an arm to stop me, and his eyes met mine. "They're after you, which means you need to stay here." But I was the reason they'd come here. How could I justify sitting on my hands while others fought my battles for me? I didn't know what to do. And my choice is to either go outside or stay in my room. And I'm not staying in my room. I'm going outside. "I have to go, Shimada." "I can't let you do that." "Those demons are here for me. If anyone gets hurt, maybe they'll listen to me. That's why they're here, right? What if I can convince them to leave peacefully? Please, I'm begging you, let me go." Shimada's brow furrowed and his mouth drew into a tight line, but at last he sighed and shook his head. "Fine, I was told to protect you though, so if you're going, then so am I." We ran out of the house, and then I paused momentarily, unsure of where to go. "This way!" One moment Shimada was there, and the next he wasn't. He flew several yards through the air, then landed hard on the ground, slid another few feet, and lay still. "Shimada!" I froze. "Just where do you think you're going?" That cold, flat voice. Chikage Kazama? In the same instant that I recognized his voice, I felt his arms snake around my neck, pulling me toward him. Ah! I struggled, but his grip was as immovable as steel. "Let me go!" "What sort of business do you have with false demons, huh?" His voice was like a cold breath in my ear, and I could almost hear a sneer in his tone. "No matter how much you give to these humans, they will betray you. You've seen those abominations they've created, haven't you? What could you possibly hope to gain from them?" I was at a loss for words. The creation of the Furies was hardly something I approved of, but I wasn't part of the Shinsengumi. What right did I have to criticize their actions? Especially when the very concoction that allowed them to create their false demons had been created by my father. "Breaking into our headquarters, huh?" said Hijikata. "Takes balls, but that fun's over now, pal." "Hey, let her go," said Harada. "Hijikata! Harada!" Behind them I could see Yamazaki and several of the other Shinsengumi soldiers. Some men were missing, though. Had they been injured by the demons? Perhaps even killed? "You fools have no idea of her worth. She is most valuable when used by a fitting partner. If you're that into her, then just bring her flowers and stuff like a normal guy," said Harada. "This stuff is just creepy." The Shinsengumi had surrounded Kazama by now, but his grip on me hadn't wavered for even a moment. "She's worthless to you as a hostage," said Hijikata. "I have no intention of using her as such," said Kazama. "She is my goal here, not a hostage. The rest of you are simply obstacles." The ring of men around him began to draw in. I could feel the tension build like a rope being pulled taut. Soon it would reach its breaking point. What was I going to do? And my choice is to try to attack, try to escape, or trust the Shinsengumi. And I'm going to be reckless, and I will try to attack. Kazama had a good hold on me from behind, but he hadn't bothered to restrain my arms. Perhaps he'd simply thought that there was nothing I could do, or that I wouldn't dare to attack him. Or perhaps he thought that even if I did, he'd have no difficulty dealing with my attacks. I wasn't foolish enough to think I might actually beat him in a fight, but at least I could try and defend myself. I'd let the Shinsengumi deal with my problems on their own long enough. "Yeah!" I cried. I jerked my kodachi out of its scabbard and swung it at him. Before it could even reach him, Kazama's hand shot out to grab my sword arm, stopping me as surely as if I'd hit a wall. "Ah!" His hand slid to my wrist and he twisted viciously. It was strong enough that I thought for a moment my bones would break. With a cry, my sword flew from my fingers. "Pointless! You thought you'd actually hit me?" said Kazama. "No, but I will," said Hijikata. "What?" said Kazama. My aborted attack had distracted Kazama for only a split second, but that was all the time Hijikata needed. Within the space of a breath, he closed the distance between himself and my captor, the tip of his blade leaping toward Kazama's throat. "Damn it," said Kazama. Almost too quickly to see, he leaned out of the way. Hijikata's blade hissed through the air, centimeters from his neck. A lesser man, a human, would have been dead. And so, for a moment, Kazama's demon strength and reflexes were focused on the sword at his throat. That moment was enough time for me to break free. Ah! I felt a gentle, powerful arm curl around my body, catching and sheltering me at the same time. Hijikata? Thought you were supposed to stay in your room. You're a real pain, kid. I know, I'm sorry. Still, you did good. What? Wouldn't have had that opening without you. Good job, said Hijikata. Praise from Hijikata was not something I was accustomed to. I opened my mouth to say I wasn't sure what, when... The girl is mine, said Kazama. I will not give her to a mere human. Kazama had recovered quickly from the attack, and his eyes smouldered with cold fury. Sorry, but I can't give her to you, said Hijikata. The Shinsengumi is responsible for her now. We gave our word. No going back. I felt his grip on me tighten as he spoke. Chizuru, said Kazama, you know you're a demon, yes? Then come join me. No, I'll never join you. I'm staying here. Now please, please leave. You would choose a simple human then? Said Kazama. Ha! Ah, too bad, Kazama, said Kyo Shiranui. Looks like you got dumped. I hadn't even noticed Shiranui appear, but behind him I could see the Fury Corps ready for battle. At their head was Sanan. He, there you are, said Sanan. The Fury Corps will be your opponent. This is an excellent chance for you to witness our tremendous strength. These men are fresh, ready to fight, said Amagiri. What would you do? Amagiri, too, had betrayed no hint of his presence until he simply appeared. So, they could have a whole army of these chumps, said Shiranui, and they wouldn't be a match for us. I say we take 'em apart. His tongue flickered over his lips, and his grin was almost hungry. Ah ha ha, said Sanan. Yes, do. Show us just how superior you are. This is a farce, said Kazama. We retreat. With no further deliberation, they leapt over the wall to the street and were gone. The Shinsengumi did not pursue them. My body sagged with relief as the terrified energy of the last few minutes quickly ebbed away. All right, said Hijikata. Won't see them again tonight. The warmth of his arm lingered for a few moments after he'd let go of me. Hijikata? Thank you. Hey, what's the status of the injured? Said Hijikata. Oh, the moment he'd let go, he turned away to deal with his men. He hadn't even heard me. His face was cold and hard, the face of the demon of the Shinsengumi. As the last of his warmth left me, I shivered in the cold night air.